closer to hell. Jordan Love, coming off a great first season as the starter in Green Bay, could hit free agency next March. Mikey T, how are you handling that situation? What is your timetable? Are you running to get this deal done?
If I am with the Green Bay Packers, I certainly am from this standpoint. Hannah, if you and I were running a team and we could draft every player in the NFL, I think clearly Mahomes would probably be first. I'm hard-pressed to think there's a player we would go to before Jordan Love. He's that good, he's that young, and his upside is that compelling. I think he goes north of $60 million a year. And if I'm Jordan Love, Hannah, I am being incredibly patient. I'm going to bet on myself and play out this deal.
Wow, I thought I was high on Jordan Love. Then hearing Mike talk about drafting him second, my eyebrows raised. I am very high on him, to be clear. What we saw in the second half of last season, he was arguably the second or first best quarterback in football in just about every metric. And I think that's meaningful because not only was it his first full year as a starter, he was playing with a very young receiving group, and he consistently elevated the talent around him. It looks like it's very clear the Packers have done it again, and Jordan Love deserves all of the money in the world.
Meaning you're 25 years old, threw for over 4,100 yards, 32 touchdowns, just 11 picks, and he did not miss a game all season. All right.
Okay. Let me just say at the very top, I believe in the Green Bay Packers. I think they are legit. I've been praising Jordan Love and the Packers, and I think that they are a legitimate, true contender to not only get to the Super Bowl, but win the Super Bowl. I think they are as good as it gets. I believe in everything that the Packers are doing. 100%. No doubt about that. But I don't know if you can just automatically say that Jordan Love is the second best quarterback in the NFL, or that you would automatically draft him now second behind Patrick Mahomes. It's not to say that it's not accurate or that it's not true, but you do need more games to be able to evaluate a quarterback. You just do. Even if it was Patrick Mahomes, like, you need more than just, what was it, like 10 really awesome games, like the back half of last season. And again, I've been praising, I made multiple videos saying Jordan Love is here, he has arrived, he is legit, let's go. So like, I am all on board Jordan Love. No ifs, ands, or buts. But you do, like, the NFL is littered with players who have balled out really unbelievably well for a season or two, only to not pan out and not do much of anything. We have had a lot of quarterbacks who, you know, whether it was like Carson Wentz, a Derek Carr, and it's not like these quarterbacks just completely crashed and burned and are now nothing, but they were reaching levels of peak level of MVP level where people are like, this guy is just going to be, you know, an MVP front runner every single season. Let's go. And it obviously hasn't panned out. And there's other quarterbacks, I could list a million of them. And again, it's not to say that I think that's going to happen to Jordan Love, but it is a bold statement to make, just to say he's the second best quarterback. Anyone who questions that otherwise, no. But I get why you can get there. I do. Because obviously Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. We look at Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow cannot stay healthy. Josh Allen has shown, and again, everyone also knows that I'm very high on Josh Allen, but again, if we're just going to try to take a big giant step back and just evaluate it, we can say Josh Allen has had ample opportunity to win, and he has not gotten the job done. Patrick Mahomes keeps besting him, and they can't, and even getting beaten by the Bengals. And then you look at Jalen Hurts, and you say Jalen Hurts only had one good year. There you go, boom. He's not that good, and he's shown that he gets banged up and he's injured. He can't stay healthy. And then you look at Dak Prescott and you say, Dak Prescott's not good. Like, look, he can't win the big game. He can't even get in the playoffs. And plus, I'm Jordan Love, and I rocked him in the playoffs last season at home. He's not on my level. Get out of here, right? You say, CJ Stroud, that was great. You beat the Browns. Congratulations. You know, then you got rocked by the Ravens. Not really that good. Get out of here. He also only had one good season. Like, so you could, like, make some of those arguments. You say, Jared Goff, that was pretty cool what you did with Detroit. But, like, bro, you've been in the league for a while. You've gotten situated. Look what I just did in my 1 year of, like, actually legitimately starting. Like, you can make the argument for Jordan Love against all these quarterbacks, right? You absolutely can. But I always take patience. Always, always, always. No matter how excited I am about a quarterback, I'm always like, let's just see. Let's just wait. That was an amazing year. Let's see if he could do it again. Let's see if he could do it after that. But what I love about Jordan Love is that what made him so successful and so good wasn't a singular trait. It wasn't a singular skill set. That's where I'm always heed caution with a quarterback, where I feel like, can things go wrong? And to me, the best example of this is always like a running quarterback. When you see a quarterback who is having early success in his career because he's so fast, or he can escape in the pocket and can buy himself time and do all that, then I'm like, that's awesome. But what happens when that's not there for him? What happens when defenses contain that a little bit better? What happens if when he does get a little bit older and gets banged up, and he no longer has that ability? What else can he do? And to me, Jordan Love thrived not because of just a singular trait. If anything, to me, the way how he succeeded, the one singular trait that is okay for you to keep doing is your intelligence. And to me, he played such intelligent football. And to me, the best example of that was against the Dallas Cowboys, because everything is rolling in that game. And I don't care if people want to complain and say that defense was awful and this or that, and that's why they went, no. The Packers just picked apart the Dallas Cowboys. No question about it. No doubt about it. The Packers arrived, Jordan Love arrived, and was like, you're just going to have no chance. All of a sudden, the Dallas Cowboys just didn't become this terrible defense. That's not the way it works, okay? They made them look terrible because that's how good Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers were. But what Jordan Love did in that game that to me stood out more than anything was his intelligence, was his decision making, was the fact that he didn't force the ball in down the field or force the balls in positions that could have changed the momentum. He had all the momentum. He had all the energy behind him. That is not an easy thing to contain, because you are just riding high. I mean, believe me, his whole body, everything about him, head to toe, was probably just surging with adrenaline and dopamine and joy and excitement of like, this is happening. I've told myself my whole life I could do this, and I am doing this. Like, I am rocking the Dallas Cowboys right now. Like, I promise you, he had a moment where he was thinking to himself, where he's like, I can't believe this, man. Like, I'm wearing a Green Bay Packers jersey right now. I am an NFL quarterback, and I'm balling out against the Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Like, unbelievable. Like, he had to have had that moment where he's just like, man, this is happening. Like, thank you. And it's so hard to not get wrapped up into that, to not just get high on your own supply. And he never did that. He just played smart football from the moment he got on the field to the moment he got off. And to me, that stood out more than anything, because you don't always see that with quarterbacks. I've seen that happen to quarterbacks, just specifically a Derek Carr or a Carson Wentz, where you see that fall. I've seen it with a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen. I've seen it again and again and again. And it's not to say that even the Patrick Mahomes of the world or the Jordan Loves of the world don't ever make those poor decisions at times. But to me, that was his peak moment in football. That had to have been, right? It was his first playoff win. He was just balling out. Like, that had to have been his greatest singular moment in his football career as a whole. And he was composed the whole time. He only made good decisions. When no matter how great your offense is rolling, there's always a bad decision to make. There's always a wrong decision to make. We saw him technically make that wrong decision against the 49ers. But I understand why he did it in that moment, right? Like, I understand why that moment kind of got the best of him. And that is where you give the young quarterback grace, where you're like, hey, there's, this was a very unique situation, and you have to go through your growing pains, right? Like, Patrick Mahomes did not win a Super Bowl his first year. He didn't even play his first year. So that's just what you're going to expect to happen. But when you're just reaching such peaks, it's just, I think it's in some ways, it's more impressive when everything is rolling and going really well that he was able to stay composed. Because to me, when it's do or die and you're down and you're kind of just like you actually have nothing to lose. Like, when Jordan Love kind of threw the ball across his body and ended up being intercepted, like, in a lot of ways he had nothing to lose. Because if he lost that game, you're not necessarily going to blame the Packers, Jordan Love. Like, they felt like they had house money. Like, to me, it's actually not as hard as it may seem. Like, in those types of situations, it's just like you don't have a choice but to do everything you can to ball out. So what's the choice? They talk about this in basketball. When the shot clock is running out, Reggie Miller talked about this recently, like, the putting up that shot is actually oftentimes the easiest shot to make, because there's no pressure. You just got it and you just put it up. Like, it doesn't matter if you miss it. No one's gonna be like, I can't believe you missed that. It's like, well, you passed me the ball with 0.5 seconds left on the shot clock. What do you expect me to do? So there's like kind of like zero pressure in a funny way. But when your things are rolling and everything's going well, there is pressure to maintain that, because you are just a fumble away or an interception away from letting Dallas get back into that game. And now the momentum shifts. And now everyone is looking at you like, dude, you had that. The game was given to you on a silver platter and you blew it. That happens a lot. And it did not happen to Jordan Love. And so I really think that that's pretty great, quite honestly. And I think that he did leapfrog a ton of quarterbacks in that. So to me, I never rank quarterbacks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't do that. I put them in groups, and I think Jordan Love is in the top of the group of quarterbacks. I think Patrick Mahomes is theoretically in a notch above in a league of his own. Not as much as a lot of people think, but he's definitely, just because of who he is and the success that he's had, he is in a notch above. But then I put Jordan Love with the group of everyone else, right? I do put Jordan Love up there where you'd be hard pressed to make an argument why you shouldn't go after Jordan Love and draft him and want him as your quarterback. But this coming season will definitely be where you really know who is Jordan Love, because you need more than just a handful of games. You need a consistent full-on season. Let's see what you got. Can you continue to go to ride the waves of the NFL? Can you repeat success in the playoffs? You got to prove yourself. You always got to prove yourself. Patrick Mahomes technically had a down year last season. Well, he has to prove himself. He has to prove himself that he's not already technically on a downward trajectory, right? Like you always have to prove yourself, right? It's kind of like a mob mentality where you're only as good as your last envelope. That's just how professional sports works. But I am not in a position where I would ever doubt someone like Jordan Love, because I really do think that he will have a tremendous amount of success in the NFL. And I'm really excited, especially for that division, as I've been speaking very highly on that division about the Detroit Lions, Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings. I just think that those games are just going to all be just can't miss TV. I think that division is just going to be like just national TV heaven, quite honestly. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers? Like, what do you do with this contract? Because it is fascinating, because he can command a ton of money, but if he actually only plays like a pretty good season, like, could you get away with paying him $50 million rather than the $60+ million? Really interesting things ahead. What would you do with Jordan Love? Would you let him become a free agent and then deal with it now, or would you do everything you could to extend him now? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.